Hey everybody, welcome to an episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi Reaction Podcast with me, Tejas, your host, and my other three co-hosts, Jishnu Guha. How's it going, Jishnu?
Your other three?
I'll open and then you say hi. And then I'll move. Then Dinkar Dwivedi. Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Ah,
Hi.
And
I
Abbas
wasn't listening.
Momin, our
I
special
wasn't
guest co-host today. Abbas, how's it going?
Hello.
You're special because your handle for Twitter and Instagram is in your title card. That's what makes you special. I haven't
That's
gotten
pretty
around
cool.
to doing that for the three of us.
Oh,
But since I had to make yours like recently, yours has
damn,
a
yes, I see it now.
yeah, it's cool,
That's
it's cool.
pretty damn cool.
Yeah. So welcome everybody. It's the Obi-Wan Kenobi Reaction Podcast, a special series that we're doing as part of the Nodatorium Live on YouTube, so that we can react not very instantly, but periodically to one of our favorite characters of all time. I can say that safely for all four of us. I can speak for all of us. And what is a very special moment in the Star Wars fandom, because this is we didn't think this was gonna happen. We set this up last week with our producer for our podcast, Josh, who was here. We spoke about the show. We spoke about like how it is for Obi-Wan to come back, that double episode whammy premiere. But today we're gonna talk about that third episode, which has me shook because there's so much to talk about. We're gonna get to it. But before we begin the pod, how about I just want to quickly talk about something that is annoying, which is the response to Moses Ingram as Reva, which has now plagued Star Wars Twitter once again. This annoying as fuck habit that Star Wars fans have to attack cast members, sometimes drive them off social media. Are they not getting what Star Wars is about, like the movies? Why does this keep happening? Or is it going to continue happening, or do we have to deal with it? I don't think we have to. That's what Moses Ingram said in her response. And then Ewan McGregor had to come out and say something that, Star Wars fan. In my mind, that's what he said. What do you guys think? How do we stop this shit? Why do we have haters?
don't give it more attention than it already is clearly trying to get.
No, I think that's the
Instead
whole
of watching
point,
the show, I guess they like the show because they're watching them, but whatever their personal opinions about people are, wrong as they may be, it's really dumb, and I think that's what they said themselves, like what Moses and Ewan and I think the official Twitter handle as well said. Just kind of like it. You guys are stupid. Stop being stupid. Thanks for watching the show, but just stop being stupid. Moving on.
No, stop
Next.
watching.
And
This is my point. Like Star Wars, it's really true.
it's not going to go away. Star Wars is not going to go away, and these things which they are angry at, which is having black people for some reason, that's not going to go away.
No, but
It's like you just
I also
wait
feel this is
about it.
emblematic of another problem. I don't mind when people don't like a show, but Star Wars fans really like to shit on Star Wars. Like I don't know what it is. Why do they think that? This is 3 episodes in. If you didn't like it, stop watching, and it's still like happening. And like I don't know what it is about, like, and I know that I rarely get disappointed by Star Wars, and so that makes me extremely biased towards everything that comes out. Like I like Boba Fett as well. I mean a lot of us do. Like whether it's good or bad, we like it. It's fine, and that does not make us discerning. It just means we enjoy it. But the other thing is that like people will like nitpick on like certain characters and things like that, and just like abuse the shit out of it, or even go as far as to DMing like actors and telling them that this is not Star Wars, or this you're just a so to speak diversity hire. That's what they've said. I just
These are
find
two
this
different things, though. I would say, like, you can not like some like this show. You can not like it for whatever perceived quality reasons you have in your mind.
Mm.
That's a separate discussion. But if your entire argument is just like there aren't black people in space or whatever, or like there aren't Asian people in space, like they did with Kelly Marie Tran,
yeah
that's like you have no ground there.
yeah
Shut
yeah
up.
absolutely. It's just really anyway, it annoys me. I'm still annoyed by it, but Abbas,
I do like that
Hmm.
Ewan made his video in the car though. Like,
sick. He stopped wherever he was going, and first of all, he was on a car and not a bike, so obviously that was a weird one. But still, I mean, just annoying.
No, I like that the official Star Wars page actually addressed it and came out against it, because I think the last couple of times this happened.
Yeah, of
First
course
was
not.
with the actor who played Finn. I'm blanking out on his
John
name.
Boyega.
John Boyega. John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran. There was this sort of they probably didn't know whether to address it, whether not to address it. So I like the fact that this time around they got the lead of the series to be like, you know what, we just have to come out and say that there's no place for fans like these. And like Ewan McGregor said, I mean, if you're acting like this, then you are no Star Wars fan, because right from the beginning, the message of Star Wars has been that everybody coexists in this galaxy. That's
How do
the
they?
objective.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Like, how do people miss the most obvious thing? That's Star Wars is not like fucking the most complicated thing in the world
Yeah.
by any stretch of the imagination, but still.
But
And-
it's just, I mean, we live in the age of the internet where everybody has a keyboard, so and everybody has access to go into the DMs of actors and actresses. So, I mean, that part of it might not go away, but the fact that the Star Wars official handle and people who run
It is
are
good.
making an effort.
Absolutely,
to-
yeah.
to-
I mean, when they,
distance
a
themselves.
lot of people have brought it up that the Star Wars account didn't say anything when when they willingly went and removed Finn from the posters that went to
Yeah,
China
yeah,
and
yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. And I'm just and people are giving them shit. I'm just like, okay, cool. They're also changing now. Like they're also acknowledging that this is getting so. I'm glad to see it. Yeah, I agree. This is good. But yeah, fuck the haters. That's all I wanted to be very clear that this is something that Geek Fruit also stands for. We don't stand for this bullshit, and I hate it. I don't like haters. It's annoying. Anyway, moving on. So, quick thing before we start. We have a new episode out on the Geek Fruit. Well, not the Geek Fruit podcast, but the Nerdatorium, a Geek Fruit podcast. It's out today. It's our review of Apple TV Plus. Oh no, it's actually that was last week's. It's today's is Avatar. Sorry, man, I should really get this shit right.
Oh man, did you finally review Avatar? Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. It was good like 12 years ago when I saw it for the first time, and then the moment I left the theater. But yeah, Jishnu and I have done a Back to the Franchise. That's out today. We have some cool episodes coming out, and tomorrow I want to say we have a very special release, which was straight from Geek Fruit Cantina, our Star Wars fan event. That is the Star Wars table read. It's going to be dropping. Abbas was one
Yes.
of the main he was Darth Vader, man.
I
Spoilers.
was the character.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
just one of the characters.
So,
yes.
so you see the synergy. Why on today's episode? This is what it's about. We got Darth Vader to review Darth Vader for Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
Kenobi. So do that. Check that out when that's out. We'll put a link on our socials, etc. at Geek Fruit HQ. All right, let's go. Dinkar, last week you did a phenomenal job of leading us through the episode. Will you please do us a favor again tonight and take us through the chronology of the episode? Before that, does anyone want to give instant reaction? Actually, let's do this. Jishnu, quick reaction to the episode.
I have to give a reaction to all three because I wasn't on the last
That's
one.
true. Oh
And
my
I
gosh.
was-
yeah.
Let's go. Give us
Otherwise-
okay. Episode 1 reaction.
Thrilled at how right I was about Leia.
Yo. This is what I was saying. I put this
Right.
up. There is a
That's right.
podcast we did.
Strange about it.
No, we did the podcast live, right? The Geek Fruit Cantina. And the three of us, I mean, actually, all four of us were on that stage. And we were saying, oh, this whole thing could be about Leia. And that was amazing. Boom. Nail on head. Well done, Jishnu.
So I'm glad, and I couldn't be happier with the casting choice. She's brilliant. I love everything about her. Nail on head in every which way with Leia-ness.
Give me your flea reactions, bro.
3 reactions?
Flea.
Oh,
That's all I want.
wow! Like I haven't squealed like that in a long time. So I'm glad that he's seemingly only as small a role as he is, because very quickly the flea really comes out. You're like, okay, yeah, you're just flea. Star Wars, as much as I love it, can't contain a flea.
All right. That's great.
So yeah, no, all good. First 2 episodes killed it. I'll refrain from further until Dinkar goes in more detail.
Okay, no, episode 3, instant react. Just quick opening gambit. All right. That's good. That's good enough for me. Dinkar.
Are we doing like expression
Yeah,
reaction?
just a quick,
Yeah.
IRL emoji reaction. No, it's fine. You can just, yeah, that was me as well.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, Abbas.
You ready for this? My episode 3 instant reaction.
Go off.
It was a sizzling episode.
Nice. Love it. I love all this. Oh, and there's a
Nice.
post
Yes.
flex.
hold for applause.
Okay, all right, that's great. All right, let's get into this episode. It was brilliant. I mean, anybody who's a Darth Vader fan, I can safely say was quite rewarded. Did we think that he was gonna be introduced so early in this?
Yeah,
He was introduced last week. Once you saw him in the Bacta tank, you're like, man's coming out.
True,
But
true. But he's like he
even
tops the
given that-
episode, right? Like he opens the
like,
episode,
he just like walks out like he's a regular guy and he's there.
and then we're suddenly in it. Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
so shocked. I was like, I'm not ready for this. But I suppose they're halfway through the show. Let's go through it chronologically. Then, Kar, why don't you take us through the scenes?
Right. So we start with Vader kind of just, putting on his clothes. Classic sequence.
Man, that shit is so good. It's the Iron Man, but it's like cooler in
It
some
is.
way.
much slower.
It'll never not give me goosebumps to see Vader being suited up.
That's true. I mean, we
And
rarely
now-
see it also. Like, when was the
We've
last
seen
time-
it thrice now. We saw it in Revenge of the Sith
That's
at the
true,
end.
yeah.
We saw it in Rogue One, and now we've seen it in Episode 3. In
Yeah,
Kenobi.
that's true. That's true.
I love how as the suit comes together, you start to see like the homemadeness of the design. Like the plate is coming on, and you see like that one red light and one green light.
Yeah. You know what really got me was when they attach his arm, and his arm, the hand has the most like fluid kind of movement.
Yeah.
It was not like robotic. It was like fucking fluid, and I was like, yo, that's sick. That's awesome. I always used to think that Darth Vader is going to be inhibited, and this we still may be proven right because we've never seen him do like I don't know if he's limited like by jumping
He's not
or
too much jumps. Yeah,
yeah,
He's not
he
jumping.
doesn't have to. He's fucking. It's all one-handed, like fucking strength, So I'm wondering about that. How flexible does this suit make him, or his inability to do anything really fancy choreographically?
I mean, he's also probably a little inflexible because his skin is, that I bet that
It's
shakes like a
chafing.
mother. Yeah.
Nipple chafing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he has any even left.
Because I mean, in one regard, like the fact that his legs are both robot legs, why does he not run like the T1000
True. I mean, he could. Or T800, I guess, right?
or
The
which is
T1000 is a liquid metal man.
Liquid Metal Man? Yeah, the run like the Liquid Metal Man.
Oh, like that,
run-
yeah.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that one. Anyway, he does it. I hope he does one day. It'd be nice just to like see him do a strut
Yeah.
as opposed to a little. He's always like a very slow moving walker. I'd like
Yeah.
to just see do like some power walking one day. Just like see a little.
He's got the
He's
strut.
got-
Yeah, that's true. He's got the
wanna
Anakin
see some
strut.
strut.
Yeah,
Look at that. So
I
you're
will
saying
say
he
that
took a shower.
his
The scene begins.
his helmet is also looking a little more modern. I don't know why. Looking a little more like trim. Look at trim. Let's go.
Right. Vader instructs Reva to find Kenobi. This is the first sort of conversation we see him have. Promising to promote her to Grand Inquisitor if she succeeds. So this is classic management strategy. He says, "You've been very promising. If you do this, I'll promote you to Grand Inquisitor. If you don't, you're dead."
Yo, I've seen this episode like 4 times now. She implies that the Grand Inquisitor was not her. Like she didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, and she's quickly dismissed by saying that, oh, I don't give a shit about the Grand Inquisitor. So then why does she want to be the Grand Inquisitor? That's the real question. If clearly it means nothing to Vader, there's an ulterior motive that we are yet to
Yeah.
discover, right?
I mean, the class monitor may not mean anything to the principal, but in the eyes of the other students, you're still the boss, right?
But we're clearly not saying that Reva's ambition surely is shaded from us right now. There has to
Yeah.
be more to this character.
I'm totally sold on the theory of she was a youngling or something to that effect.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
We did get
Like
that
it-
initial
like,
scene, yeah.
like even the ambition of wanting to be the GI or whatever the hell in whatever ranking in the Empire's order of Inquisitors or whatever it is, I think has ulterior motives that might not be as simple as I want to be number one.
Yeah.
Is more like some kind of insurgency or something of like basically personal motivation, which could be just revenge because she was on the other side before and now is just like infiltrated or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as cookie cutter as.
Quick speculation. The character posters dropped, and one of the interesting things was that in everybody's eye, there's the binary sunset, and everyone's got their adversary in it. And
Yeah.
for Obi-Wan, obviously it's Darth Vader, but for Reva, it's also Darth Vader.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Maybe she could be.
But do we know it's the adversary? Because I think Leia's eye also has Obi-Wan.
It
And
does.
Obi-Wan
That's
is
the only
not
thing
Leia's
that kind of
adversary.
it has some special meaning. But I mean, why is Reva's not Obi-Wan? Is the real question.
Sure.
Okay,
So-
let me since we're talking about the Inquisitors, I'll say one thing. I don't know if you guys mentioned this last time, but now I haven't seen much of Inquisitors in Clone Wars because I'm not there yet. But I've seen
No,
them in Rebels.
then there aren't any Inquisitors in Clone Wars because
Oh, well, then there you go. Okay,
Inquisitors
so
are
in
born only
Rebels-
after Order 66. And
Great. So then in
Jedi-
Rebels, from the bits we've gotten to see of them, I don't remember them being this squabbling, bratty, just
they were.
completely useless. Like from the word go, apart from the cool factor, if I was watching these guys without any prior knowledge, I wouldn't think anything of these people. Because like the four of them, however many there were, like they don't have their shit together. And like
They don't. And this is
powerful as
early
they
in
may
the,
be,
this-
I was just like, you're not threatening. You're just a bunch of like you're making it up as you go kind of kids. And
But
one of you
Jogs,
has a
Jogs,
menacing
you
voice.
remember in Rebels when Sarah Michelle Gellar plays the seventh sister? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a bit of internal squabbling there between her and the
Yeah,
fifth
but
brother. Fifth
that's
brother is
fine.
there.
I don't-
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with internal squabbling. I'm just like, it's a very interesting choice that they chose to make these guys so
Squabbly?
probably, yeah. I just like, I don't know, like it doesn't instill confidence that the Inquisitors and in general are gonna go very far. But that could just be the bait and switch, which
Yeah.
I mean,
Ramanathan in the comments says she hates the fifth brother. Would love to be the Grand Inquisitor and send him to the Outer Rims. So maybe she has personal beef with all of them. I don't
She
know.
does
You know.
seem to hate the entire institution in general.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
She don't give a
so
fuck.
She's akin to Vader in the sense that she doesn't care necessarily about the structure of whatever or like
Yeah.
her fellow officers.
Yeah.
She just cares about Obi-Wan, and so does Vader.
There is an interesting arc in Jedi Fallen Order with the ninth sister, which is worth watching. I won't spoil it, but very, very good. Kind of gives you more insight about their internal conflict, not just their squabbling for their KRAs to be going well and all of that shit. There's more there. But yeah, the Inquisitors in general, if you haven't, you're right, Jishnu. If you haven't seen them earlier, and that to be fair, there's not much of them anyway. They're kind of here and there. You wouldn't be sure like how they fit in, especially with the rule of two and generally. But they're Jedi hunters essentially. That's all I suppose you need to know, and
Yeah.
they look like they're hunting Jedi. So
Yeah.
all right, cool. So then what happens? Let's move forward.
Doesn't it make a lot of
So
sense?
before we move on, can we talk about the voice guys? James
I
Earl
wanted
Jones.
to save this, but Abbas and I were talking about this on Twitter because the instant reaction on Twitter was like Abbas said, "Oh, did they use the same?"
Yeah, because
technology.
he sounds much sprightlier and younger than he did in Rogue
And I
One
couldn't
and
believe
Rebels.
it. I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like, no, there's no way. There's no fucking way they could do it. There's one thing doing Mark Hamill, but man, I
Maybe
didn't
he
think
just
this was
tried more.
possible.
I think hasn't it become
No,
hasn't it been
it's
confirmed
confirmed.
now?
It's confirmed. It's Reese
confirmed,
Beecher.
yeah.
This is all Hayden
Oh, is it?
Christensen's line readings, and they've applied. Now they've applied James
He's
Earl
all
Jones
done
to it.
plugging.
Now here, check this out. I'm saying everybody's ethical arguments against this are like it's creepy, it's weird, and how far they're gonna take it. But tell me, is there more fitting a character for something like this to be used? I mean, the
Yeah.
fact that literally he is becoming Darth Vader through this robotic kind of machinery, yo. That's why Star Wars the greatest. That was mad. And dude, it sounds awesome. Like, why would
Yeah.
you not? Like,
Sounds-
they have James Earl Jones' blessing.
Yeah.
And James Earl Jones is not involved like physically. Then I suppose
No, I think he's just
No.
too old.
he's
I remember
being deepfaked in.
he's
Yeah,
being
he's like
deepfaked.
91.
he's 91, and in Rogue One he's sounding like grandpops. Like
Yeah.
and even remember the Jogs. Even in Rebels, man, like he's there in season
Yeah.
2 as the primary antagonist. And like he's sounding like quite old. We have to also understand this really weird thing that in Rebels, or maybe not in Rebels, but earlier to this, man, Darth Vader is in his early 30s. Guys, he's our age in this show. That is so insane. He dies at the age of 45. That's the most insane thing. But he's
Yeah.
played by Sebastian Shaw, who's like in his 70s. So yeah, man, that nobody aged well. Nobody ages well. Not Alec Guinness, not Darth Vader. Anyway.
I would say it's also good though because this does mean that our boy Hayden has more to do. Because if it was just him in the suit and
Yeah.
James Earl Jones doing the voice, you're underutilizing the man's
Right.
skills.
Yeah.
I still think it's because I mean like we got a quick preview and we'll get to that of him, you know, a little like not flashback but like a vision that Obi-Wan
Yeah, a
has
vision,
of
yeah,
Hayden
yeah.
Christensen. That's the first time we're seeing him since Revenge of the Sith. I believe that we will get more. And he's
Oh, yeah.
confirmed for Ahsoka, so you never know.
All right.
Well, no, he's not confirmed, but it's pretty obvious.
In
now.
the meantime,
Mhm.
we see Obi-Wan kneeling in meditation, doing his best to reach the spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn, but he's got no bars.
He's got no bars. He's got no bars, no connectivity. And I think that's purely because he has cut himself off from the Force. We'll get to what I mean Qui-Gon's appearance seems almost inevitable.
A
now.
given, yes.
Yeah, because I mean we got like after the end of this episode, we gotta get a Rocky style like montage, right? Like we gotta get Obi-Wan back in the game. I mean that's the only way he can fight him. Surely this is
suppose-
not the end.
I suppose there's opportunity, unlike in the previous Force Ghosts we've seen in the original trilogy, pulling a Last Jedi Force ghostiness
Wait,
that
do you mean
Qui-Gon could do,
Like Mark Hamill
Like-
or Yoda?
like Mark Hamill did it
Ah.
in Last Jedi, where in which he projects himself. Now, I know that the Force Ghosty Luke didn't actually do anything, but if he just plays that same move again on Anakin, that could have a much more impactful effect than
Oh,
if
you're saying that Qui-Gon will appear as a real...
Qui-Gon appears not in a ghost fashion, but like looks like he's really there.
Can he
You
do
know what I
that?
mean?
No, I don't think Force Ghosts can do that. I mean, we
I
don't
mean,
know
now
what
there's
the-
kind of precedent for it. That's what I mean, right? Like we're expecting bluey Force Ghost, right? But the fact that we've seen Luke do some weird projection, Qui-Gon is fucking Qui-Gon. He's had 10 years to like perfect this art. I don't know. Like now is as good a time as any to bust out that card if they're willing to.
Oh,
make
you know
that.
what would be
was
awesome?
alive then,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
Luke was alive.
doing
Yeah.
it killed him.
But having said that,
Spoilers.
Yoda, okay, in The Last Jedi, I mean, he destroys the hut using this like lightning bolt. So they can, control stuff in the corporal.
Leia
world.
fucking was floating through space when she was dead.
She
So
wasn't
we
dead.
know, so anything can happen. Like I wouldn't put it past them, and I'd be perfectly happy with that.
I would
just
love-
as long as Qui-Gon doesn't like do anything too significant. Like I love how they use Luke in Episode 8 that way to like just say, even though I'm not really here, my presence can be enough to fuck with your head, and that is all that these guys need to run away. I'm just buying time. If Qui-Gon does a similar move where he doesn't actually have to like physically do any damage, I think just like like it would scare Annie a fair bit to be like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
The
I
guy
would
that
love if
defeated me.
Qui-Gon appears to Darth Vader as well, but I think only those who can commune with the Force in that fashion can see the Force Ghosts. Like that's the whole thing. But again, it didn't stop Luke from seeing Ben in Return of the Jedi, so we don't really
Yeah.
know how all of this works. All right, so he's communing, doesn't work out for him.
Speaking of Liam Neeson, though, tell me if I'm imagining this. In episode 2, when this man is speaking to his real life daughter, he says a girl was taken, right?
Wait, who says what when?
Obi-Wan
Yeah.
speaking to that random like junkie teenager.
Right.
Oh, in
Yes.
episode 2 of this, that's his daughter.
Of Obi-Wan.
Oh.
Yes, that is
Not Attack of the Clones.
That's
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor's real daughter. Yeah.
Yes,
in part
yes.
2, let's say, Ewan McGregor's
Yes.
real daughter.
Sure.
He says a girl was taken, which seems like a pretty.
He
flat
says
out-
no. He says I'm looking for my daughter. Then Curry, come on.
He says.
And then he
"I'm
turns to
looking
the
for my
camera and
daughter, she
winks.
was taken."
A girl
I
was
swear
taken.
to God, did I dream this? Because
You
I feel
dreamed
like
it because
the
it's in Batman Begins when Liam Neeson
No.
says I had a family. They were taken
I've
from
got to
me.
look this up. Maybe I've.
I think
manifested
Dinkar
it in
is
my
right.
mind. I
I'm
think he
not
says
sure if
taken.
it's in that scene, but someone does say that line. You're correct.
But I also feel like in the episode 3 previously on, when they show that scene, he says a girl was kidnapped. Let me fact check this and get back to you.
You do
guys.
this.
Okay.
Let's move on with the timeline. What
Alright.
happens next?
Kenobi and Leia's transport lands on the mining planet Mapuzo,
Mm-hmm.
and they proceed to the rendezvous provided by Haja.
Guys, what do you think about Mapuzo? Because I was not impressed at all.
It really does just look like they got out of wherever they were shooting
of their vans
and went to like a close by state like Arizona and whatever. They went to New Mexico quickly shot that stuff. I mean, it's fine. It's supposed to look arid and stuff because he does say the line that, it used to have fields and all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, so it needs to look dead. So I buy it story wise. But yeah, you're right. Like as far as Star Warsiness goes, it's a pretty low ranking on like, this doesn't look like anything in our galaxy. It's like, no, it is. That's literally
I
what
mean,
breaking
yeah,
news.
if you're coming straight from Dayu and you want that contrast,
Yes,
then it
exactly.
works, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
but
it's
a pretty,
great.
like by the numbers desert planet.
That said, hang on. Was it episode 2 with the? Or was it episode? Was it in this
Part
episode
2?
with Kumail?
Part 2.
Yes.
No, that was part 2.
Kumail, Haja Estri is in part 2.
So that whole that entire sequence just felt like another Madripoor. Like that
It did.
also felt a little
We did talk about that. How it looked
generic.
a little Coruscant-y.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's getting tough now. Like
Guys,
they've made so
listen,
many
you
different.
can only have 4 types of planets in Star Wars. Okay, let me run through them. One, you can have a city planet, okay, which is really kind of. Then you can have Wakanda, which is all around. You can have Tatooine, which is Jakku and the others, and you can have Dagobah style, which is like absolute wildlife, like a Sheik or Dagobah. That's it. This is it. This is it.
There's Hoth and Crate, like which are the same.
Hot
but
and Crate are nice. No,
one is real- no,
Crate
one is
can
like-
fall into the Tatooine category. Come on, Salt
I mean,
Flats.
sure. I mean, hey, I'll take a color palette change any day. Like same with freaking what is it in the Infinity Saga? Where do they go for the Soul Stone?
Vormir.
Vormir.
That's Tatooine with a
Vormir
bisexual
is
light.
no.
Yeah.
Vormir is
Tatooine
Windows
with
XP
purple light.
wallpaper planet. That's what it is.
Yeah, but
What is
it's a desolate planet like
That's
Tatooine.
It's
beach planet in
deviantart.com.
Rogue One.
Sorry.
Sorry.
The beach planet in Rogue One.
Scarif, that was
Scarif,
nice.
yes.
Loved that. That was
Yeah.
super
It's a
nice.
great
That was Abu Dhabi again. No, that was like yeah.
And
that
there was
nice.
also the clone planet on which they
Camino.
find Jango
That
Fett.
you know,
Camino.
Camino is a
Not
cool
much of a
planet.
planet though.
Lots
We didn't
of
just talk
City
about-
with rain.
We saw the building.
And have you guys? I don't know. You guys have seen? Have you seen Bad Batch yet? Have you finished Bad Batch the
Not
first
yet.
season?
No.
Some stuff goes down. Let's move on.
Shall
I think
So?
it's time for a hill station planet. That's what I'm saying.
They need
You
to go to
could have
Shimla.
like a rocky, hilly planet and say it was a mining town.
I
right?
suppose
Oh, that's
Utapau
what,
is like that a little bit.
Luke's Skellig Island planet.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, like Michael. Anyway, chalo. So then,
They find no
Acto.
one there. Obi-Wan assumes they've been betrayed by Haja, and they take a ride on an Imperial transport driven by a man named a creature named Frick.
No, it's Breck.
Freck, sorry.
Freck.
Freck. Sorry.
So question, did Haja actually betray them? Did
no, he
send him-
didn't, right?
send him to
Because
no one?
Tala is the contact that he sends.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
He was
because
just
like Obi took a trip across a planet, came to the rendezvous point, looked around, and like, well, no one's here. He betrayed us. Chalo, chalo. Like,
Okay.
wait 5 minutes, my guy.
So Satyam has done some nice little producing for us. He checked. The line is, "How about some information? I'm looking for my daughter. She was taken."
there
We
you
were
go.
all
Thank
right.
you,
We were
Satyam.
all right. Nice. Thank you, Satyam. Thank you
Satyam,
for that.
can you also check how they frame it in the recap in episode 3? Thank you.
All right. So we get this trucker who's played by Zach Braff. I did not call that.
Dude, I could have
I-
sworn it was Seth Rogen.
Everyone
I know,
thought
right?
Everyone
Yeah,
said
same.
that.
That was my
yeah.
first
yeah,
instinct. That was my first instinct. Yeah.
But
But I'm all for these kind of set pieces.
I'll tell you what happened, guys. He was busy shooting Cheaper by the Dozen, the reboot at Disney. All right. And they were just like, "Hey, Zach, do you want to get into the booth? We're doing some ADR. Do you want to play a character?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And boom, they
Zach
turned him
Braff
into a
doesn't sound
MAGA.
like Kermit.
Yeah, I mean, they turned him into this MAGA type, trucker. Like,
I love Breck because it's a great conceit, right? Because he
It
seems
is.
so jovial and nice
It is.
at first, and then you realize, people like, I mean, just like in real life, simple everyday people also fell.
Absolutely.
For the Empire, they were supporting them because they thought they're gonna bring change and everything.
tell me this, Abbas. I was
Achhe
watching.
din are gonna come.
Exactly. I was watching Return of the Jedi again last night, and they destroy the second Death Star, and they've inserted these scenes of everywhere, universally, everyone's celebrating this. Do you think we've gotten enough character build, or at least like the tone of the universe or the galaxy, where there's enough to say that the Empire was a good thing? In the Bad Batch, I know we do get a little bit of that, like Breck. Where he says, nothing wrong with a little order, like because people want some order. After the
So-
Clone
so
Wars
I-
specifically.
I'm assuming that the Empire is still in its first decade, so people are still hopeful that
Yeah.
okay, maybe something. By the time we get to Return of the Jedi, it's been a couple of decades, so
Yeah.
people have realized that oh, it's just getting bad from bad to worse.
Right. Right.
So I'll
That's
give the people a little bit of a benefit of doubt
Fair
in
enough.
this phase of the
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like we should get a little bit more of that sense of how bad it is. I think we might get that in Andor.
Yeah, yeah.
Dinkar,
All right.
take us through.
As they are making their trek to the coordinates, Obi-Wan catches a glimpse of Anakin that turns out to be just a vision in his head.
That's I think it happens before they meet Breck, but yeah,
Oh, it happens before they.
it does. It does. But that is cool. It was nice to see. I had to do a double take, man, when I saw
Yeah,
Anakin
same.
there. It was nice. They moved through the I felt like this next scene was a little like Inglorious Bastardsy or like any kind of like we're
Which
hiding.
explains why I am all in for these.
I
kind of
love that,
things.
dude. That's
And
the
it's-
whole of
it's
Jedi
very-
Fallen Order is this
it
way.
was
The
also
very,
kind of a
very
thing.
first scene of the series where the Inquisitor in Chief, whatever he's called,
Yeah.
where he comes and he's searching for a Jedi. That was so reminiscent of the first scene of Inglorious Bastards,
It's true.
where
It's
With-
true.
Aslan,
Shoshana.
comes-
With a
Yes,
and,
exactly.
and I had that exact same thought while watching it, and I was like crossing my fingers really tight because you really can't beat that scene, and they
Exactly.
really couldn't.
Yes. Yes.
Like
yes,
it just
yes.
like it didn't.
Oh,
stick. I was
it
like,
doesn't,
nice, so
it doesn't
cool.
have to
But-
be better than Inglorious. Inglorious is one of the peak versions of this kind
I
of
know,
suspense.
and I'm rooting for these guys to be better because I like Star Wars more than I like Inglorious Bastards. But Inglorious Bastards has a
that's the
couple
right
of scenes.
answer.
that are the best scenes I've ever seen. But the point is,
Yeah.
yeah, for the moment once they get onto the back of the truck and the stormtroopers are there, and then it's a whole, like just
Yeah.
a bunch of like shifty eyes
Mhm.
and a couple of seemingly innocent questions from everybody, things like that. That's really what I want more in these TV shows. Like when I'm sitting down for like 6 hours living in this random ass planet that I've never heard of with only a completely inconsequential stormtrooper talking to my favorite character, I'm happy to get a half an hour long conversation of the two of them just shooting the shit where there's only one sentence of significance in there. Because that's like what a lot of Mandalorian
yeah.
season 1 was. A lot of season 1 of Mandalorian was, it was the most of all the shows so far. It's definitely the most like, what's the adventure for today? What's the goal that we have to reach before the end of this 30 minutes?
Yeah, quest of the week.
Right? The quest of the week thing. And what made Mando so fun for me, especially in the first season, was the fact that they were doing more scenes like this. It was just like, we happen to be on this planet now where there's a frog person. Cool, we're just going to sit and chat with a frog dude for 15 minutes because why not? And he's going to ride a fish horse because reasons. So this was probably my favorite
Moment.
section of the entire thing, just because it's just like that kind of tension from something seemingly small like that. I just really love in a Star Wars.
I did enjoy it. And Obi-Wan getting rusty because he can't even remember his own alias for both the characters. Luma and what is his name? Otis? Or what? Orton? I don't know.
Odin, Otis, something.
Yeah,
along those
yeah.
lines,
And he
yes.
can't remember. But good
Orden.
save. Good save because he's and I love that he's just like, oh, it's a long story. He's like, it's a long way. And then they have a 5-minute conversation and he's like,
"Oh,
all right,
yeah."
see ya.
Yeah.
I love that.
I kept thinking maybe this is the moment where maybe Obi-Wan would pull off a mind trick, do these aren't the droids you're looking
Yeah,
for.
I'm always looking for that. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many points where he could do this, but he hasn't yet.
Yeah.
I will say though that we get one of the most insane drops of information of all time. Not in anything I've seen before. No comics, no books. I checked. No legends have gone into this. But Obi-Wan, for the first time ever, acknowledges a life outside the Jedi,
Yeah.
the Order, and speaks of
And
potentially
Obi-2 Kenobi.
an OP2, a non-force sensitive brother.
Yeah.
Wow, is that
There's apparently, have you seen the little tiny one sentences that they've had in a couple of books where he refers to Owen Lars as his brother? And it's non-canonized. It's throwaway references. Like you have to do some Googling to find this, and it's just like a complete, shot in the dark kind of a thing. Like, oh my God, is that relevant? Because Owen's in this thing. But I mean, I highly, highly doubt it.
Yeah.
But that's the only precedent for it. In that there are some random novels from fuck knows how long ago. where
Legend
it's just
series probably? Yeah, I have.
a throwaway,
yeah.
a throwaway line where he just says, "Yeah, my bro Owen."
I love this though. I do like the idea that you know what my favorite thing about this show is that, or any of these shows, is that when we get the original Star Wars, it's like the hero's journey, and in the hero's journey you have to have a wizard to come in and teach the hero how to live. But we're getting the wizard story now, and we're seeing like the machinations of that. I love that we're kind of getting a hint of Obi-Wan's like Obi-Wan is really broken. And we're finally seeing that, somebody who has always been like, oh, you can never lose your lightsaber, this thing is your life. Or, telling Obi-Wan, you gotta adhere to the code. Or even going so far as to say to Qui-Gon that, you're defying the council. He's always been such a good boy.
By the number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, we're
Company
finally
man.
seeing that this guy's just like finally questioning that, wait, maybe some of that shit not good. Because now I'm cutting up beef and feeding it to an EOP, which is great. Dinkar, you're gonna love this. Satyam has found the recap line, and you will not believe it. It says a girl has been kidnapped.
They did it.
How the fuck
They-
did you remember this, man?
Of all, how many times have you
Because this
seen
is
the
all
episode?
I'm watching for. I just saw it the one time, but it really stood out to me.
That's so insane.
Because like we are so certainly getting a Qui-Gon, right? At this point,
Yeah,
if they threw out a Taken reference and then hit it,
Yeah.
Do you think? Oh, wait. Would you put it past them? Would you put it past like what do you if you were betting men? Qui-Gon only in season 2.
There's no season. Hey,
I don't think.
okay.
that's-
Here's what I think. Okay, this
Book
is
of
how-
Boba Fett is not season 3, but it's season 3.
Check-
Whatever
okay,
season 2
I'm
of
gonna
this
tell you
is,
something. This is what
Qui-Gon in that.
I guarantee you, Jishnu, Dinkar, Abbas, when all four of us are at Celebration next year in London, this is what's gonna happen. They have been very crafty by saying Obi-Wan, a limited series, but I have a high expectation, and I think this might happen, that we get Darth Vader, the limited series,
Yeah.
and we get it from
I would
a certain point of view, and maybe Ewan McGregor's in that as well, or I don't know, but it could be that. So
That's
There's
possible,
so much.
yeah.
There's so much negative space there to play with. Like, why
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah. I mean, there's so much good shit. I mean, why would we not want that?
Yeah.
I would love
we
that.
got Hayden back on the payroll? Everything's been updated. New addresses have been sent. All the relevant paperwork is done.
It's
Come
done.
on,
He's
let's go.
he's a registered vendor, guys.
He's a registered member of the company now. Like, he was there. Now Kathleen has him on his side. Like, let's do it.
All right, so season 2 maybe not. I think he definitely shows up. I think we get Owen again in the last episode 6 to tie it all up. But I definitely think we get Qui-Gon in the next episode.
possibly.
That's what I feel.
Second last episode, correct?
No, there's 3 more to
Third
go.
last, yeah.
3 more to go.
Yeah.
So we get Qui-Gon, we get the Rocky montage, the next one. 5th one is we get the fight. 6th one we get the denouement. We get the resolution. We get the closing the loop of the show. Maybe. Let's see how that goes. Let's move forward.
We've got to see another meeting between Vader and
Oh,
Obi-Wan, where
certainly.
one of them is the learner, and
No.
or where Vader is the
Yeah.
learner.
I mean, does this almost certainly imply that Darth Vader
See,
gonna get his
If
ass
this is
beat?
the last meeting if this is the last meeting they have, then what Vader would have said in A New Hope would have been,
All right.
The last time we met, I owned your ass.
So I wanna let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. How open are you guys? And Jishnu, I want to know what your reaction was when Reva stabs the Grand Inquisitor. What was your immediate reaction? That's one. And the second is, how okay are you guys with a certain amount of retcon versus keeping absolutely, nailed on to the canon, scripts?
Retconning what specifically though?
Like certain things,
Some
for
things less
like
than
for
others.
example, George Lucas has retcon stuff, right? Like in Return of the Jedi, Leia says, "Yeah, I do remember my mother,
Yeah,
etc."
yeah,
But there's no possible way that she could have. So he has retcon that. But would you be open to them retconning some of the Darth Vader Obi-Wan meeting, just so that we get a richer show now, as opposed to being so hardly,
You think retconning some lines of dialogue from episode 4?
What do you guys feel about that?
They didn't say all that much, so I don't think you really need to. Like, there's nothing terribly specific other than what Dinkar just said, learner and master, which is so vague. I mean, yeah, I highly doubt this is the last time they're going to meet, because then your
No, they
main
have to.
antagonist.
I think
is-
they will.
Yeah, like the antagonist, protagonist, it's all about the two of them meeting. Like, obviously, it's going to happen.
Abbas, what about you? What do you feel about that?
So, for anybody who heard the live episode that we did, if you guys remember, I said that I'm not in favor of Vader and Obi-Wan having a long altercation in this one, because it takes away from the episode 4 moment when they meet together.
And do you still
Because
hold that? As
I
your-
still hold that, but
Okay.
but I mean, look, if you're gonna give me Vader and Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan going at it, I'm not gonna be like, I don't want to see this, because of course I do.
Yeah.
Which is why we're gonna skip a little ahead. But in this episode, the climactic battle that we saw
Yeah.
was not as flashy as episode 3.
Absolutely.
Neither was it so sort of lukewarm as episode 4. Now, of course, the episode 4 lightsaber battle is lukewarm. The only sensible answer there is because it was made in 1977. That was the
Yeah.
first lightsaber battle that Lucas was filming. He did not know how to go
Yeah.
about it, right?
And at the time, it was the best.
It was the best. So when people make that argument that, oh, in the end of Rogue One, if Vader's going crazy with the lightsaber, how is it that when he faces Obi-Wan, he's not that good? The answer to that is Rogue One was made in 2016, and
And I
episode
feel like
4
the
was made in
Obi-Wan battle is
77.
far more emotional for Vader than Rogue One, than him just
Of course,
killing some
yeah.
rebels. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this context, if they have one more altercation, let's say in the series finale of this one, which is the climactic battle where they go at it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But if they imply that Vader and Obi-Wan kept meeting each other over the next
Yeah,
decade,
fair.
then it takes away from that, because up till this, I saw this episode when Darth Vader says a presence I haven't felt since ...
Ellipsis, yeah.
I'm thinking Mustafar, because I'm like, oh, that's the last time they met. There's so much.
Oh, little
three
did we
decades,
know.
3 decades worth of pent up anger and hurt that's gonna come to the fore.
Yeah.
So it does take away a little bit from that moment. So it's a tricky predicament, I think. So I hope they build up a little bit of.
Okay, so
the
how short is are we counting as, oh, it's been such a long time, like what's
a decade at
a
least.
decade at least,
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say. So this one has to be
Can't
the
beat
final
after
meet.
this.
Yeah, and then it's like, no. And also, I mean, according to Tarkin and Vader himself, they all believe that Obi-Wan to be dead, so you never know.
Yeah.
All right, let's move forward.
Like,
we see a
Basically,
storm.
Disney looked at those 3
Yeah.
dots after pressing since and went like, each dot.
So what if they end this show in such a way that they do something where Vader feels like he's killed Obi-Wan?
Yeah,
So
that's
the
what he
next
has to
time-
fake his
yeah,
death. He
Yeah,
has to
I've
Sherlock
seen
this
that
shit.
like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
guess
that's the
he has
safest
to
way to
feel
protect
like
these guys.
I was the learner and you were the master.
Yeah.
Yo. What about? So okay, remember what I said about Force Ghost projection? What about Obi-Wan learning how to Force Ghost project like Luke does, and he lets him kill him?
But twice he's doing that shit. Twice, like, okay, I want to say something. I think maybe Qui-Gon teaches Obi-Wan also something really special, because there's something knowing about the way Obi-Wan dies in episode 4. Like he just becomes like he just
Yeah.
melts. He doesn't
Yeah,
get like
yeah.
Qui-Gon. He's not killed like Qui-Gon.
Right.
So I
Okay.
think maybe there's something in that.
Considering we knocked it out of the park with the Leia thing, I'm putting all my chips in for Force Ghost Obi-Wan dies. As in Force projection Obi-Wan dies.
Interesting. I'm with you. Okay, that's a good bingo.
He's able to force project and let himself be killed.
Be killed.
While
So that Anakin thinks he's dead.
Ramanathan says,
Jishnu, would you say that, considering it got so much backlash when The Last Jedi came out, where the fans were angry that, this new force
that they
projection
would do it again?
things, you're going to do
Yeah,
it again?
because fans are dumb, and I like my theory.
yeah, and I don't think it
Fair enough.
represents the majority of how people felt about that. I don't think. At
I
least.
couldn't care less about how people felt about it. I loved it. I want more of it.
Even I
This
loved
makes
it. Yeah.
I
sense
think it was
about,
amazing.
Like, if you do it in Obi-Wan, you're saying it's not a new ability.
Yeah, exactly.
Obi-Wan did it in that.
Obi-Wan did it first.
Luke learned it from
and
Obi-Wan.
you won't believe who he
Yeah.
learned it from. Yeah.
Yeah, like when the camera was filming in like the cockpit of the Falcon, Obi and Luke were in the back. He's like, listen, so this is the probe droid. Also, this is how you fucking project yourself.
And they
50
should
yards.
just release a shot where Obi-Wan post ROTJ goes to Luke and says, yo, come here, I want to show you something cool. Ramanathan
I
says,
will say-
Qui-Gon's voice potentially at the end of season 1. Reddit would be sure to spot if Liam Neeson was in and around Lucasfilm. Which, I don't know.
There have been surprises.
Yeah,
I
of
didn't know
course.
Leia was in
The
this show.
greatest surprise was Tom Cruise in Doctor Strange, and I didn't know about that at all. So you never know. All right. So then we move forward.
Hello.
Right. Reva explains to her fellow Inquisitors that she just spoke to Lord Vader personally. She will be leading the mission, even though the fifth brother is next in line. Since she's in charge, Reva releases tracking probes, knowing Kenobi is somewhere in the mining systems. This, of course, is happening in parallel with the stormtroopers on the back of that truck.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, how is it that on Dayu there are like pictures of Obi-Wan floating around everywhere with like holograms, and the stormtroopers have no idea what he looks like?
Well, they don't have many billboards over there. There's no OOH out
you
of
think
home
at least they'll say like,
advertising.
"Hey, look for a like older man with a beard and a young
Yeah,
girl."
you know that's the thing. They need a probe droid to be able to scan whether Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan, but they can't have like a device like the one the bounty hunters had. I don't know. I find the discrepancies is never something that I want to kind of question in the galaxy.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's the same thing that I think.
But they need Face
answers
ID,
the
dude, that's
retcon
it.
question, which is that it's fine. Like I said last week, all of Star Wars is a giant Jenga tower. Like you pull
I
one
love
block and you're
it.
like, this should
Yeah.
I
fit.
love
and then
it.
you put it on down, you're like, it'll work. We'll figure it out.
well, they get the probe droid there soon enough, and they have no reason to suspect that Obi-Wan is the missing guy, right? They're just out on, and if they have some suspicion, which they do find out. Man, also, one of the most amazing things ever I've seen on Disney Plus, the children's channel, which is where a stormtrooper gets, again,
Sliced in half.
sliced in twain.
In half.
Wow.
Freck-
I love
Freck and
that
his
so
truck
much.
pull up to a traffic stop barricade armed with stormtroopers. It turns out Freck bought his 2 traveling stays here so his Empire buddies could inspect them. Obi-Wan is about to be found out. So a bunch of stormtroopers, threat 1, they leave. Bunch of stormtroopers is also threat 2 at the
Checkpoint.
traffic stop,
Mhm.
at the checkpoint. Obi-Wan is about to be found out when he pulls out his blaster and proves how much better a semi-retired Jedi Master is compared to a stormtrooper.
This is true. Stormtroopers are just the worst.
Dumb.
They're the worst.
Yeah.
I would go so far as to say they're worse than battle droids. Like they are the
Yeah.
lowest out of it's clone troopers, it's battle droids, and then it's stormtroopers.
The first group of troopers are taken care of, but when they pass through the gate, a handful more pull up, along with an Imperial officer. Tala, played by Indira Verma.
Love that. When they
Woohoo.
when they released the images, like the
So-
variety, we all thought that she was an Imperial officer. Great turncoat, awesome, loved it. Shoots them in the back. I love this. Lots of deception here. But Obi-Wan using
That felt
Breck-
like a very Star Wars moment. I was
Yeah,
like,
it did.
this
It did.
is-
Colin.
Obi-Wan using Breck also as a shield is phenomenal. I love
Yeah.
that. He has zero value system. He's no longer part of the Order. He has no more values. I loved it. It's great. He saves Leia with some really rootin' tootin' shooting. And yeah, they
Hey,
move
do
on.
you want to talk about the moment in the vehicle where he looks into Leia's eyes and she asks him about her father,
Yeah.
and he says, "I wish I was."
Yeah.
Does that imply he had the hots for Padme?
Yeah.
Yes.
Does it?
It's a weirdly. I mean, it obviously
Wait.
can go both ways, but like obviously what he meant is that I wish you knew your father, and I wish you could know that Anakin was your dad, but it's a difficult one.
What's even weirder to me in that moment, though, is that he basically, like, that moment I kind of just read as him saying, like, you're such a cool child, I wish I was your dad.
Yeah.
But the
Oh,
part where he uses his brother and his own example to say, like, so, it's okay if you're away from your birth family. It's cool.
Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, this is his whole life, I mean, not really good, looking too good at the moment, but I mean, he found a new family, and I think that's an okay message.
Yeah,
Also,
but I
generally.
mean, like, it's a slightly different, like, he's comparing his story to Leia's story.
Yeah.
Leia is adopted. All the other
And
circumstances
her
aside, she's
parents,
adopted.
might I add, are like the fucking coolest parents of
Yeah,
all
yeah.
time. Man.
Absolutely.
Like
Obi
goat
was
parents.
pissed, as he would have put it himself.
But I mean, okay, Obi-Wan had Liam Neeson, I mean, and Yoda. Okay, he got Qui-Gon, Yoda raise him, so that's pretty great as well. I mean, it's fine. It's all good.
Uh-huh. All right. Where was I?
Tala.
Tala, yes. Okay. Oh, by the way, so when she shoots those people, what did y'all read it as? I assumed it meant she kind of like found an Imperial officer outfit and just
No,
like,
she
walked
is an
away.
Imperial officer.
Apparently.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That-
she blew
Yeah,
her
I'm
cover
with you.
now
That's
last
what I
minute.
thought.
That felt clear. There's a line that she says
Yes,
in the hideout where she says that
exactly.
by the
Oh, you're
time I
right,
found
yeah.
out by the time I found out what I signed up when they stood for something, by
Yep.
the time I found out what they
Yep.
were,
Yeah,
but it was
yeah.
too late, you
So
know.
she's
See,
been a double agent for a long time.
That's great. I
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it
that's
does
another
mean-
moment of what we were talking about, of even Imperial officers realizing that we're on the wrong side.
Yeah, yeah. I like that idea exists, that they're not just completely cold-hearted. And
Correct.
and she has a British accent, which means she's a pure Imperial officer, but but you know, she still managed to find the way.
Tala leaves the two temporarily to make sure the coast is clear. As Leia waits, she starts to blame herself for all of this happening
So
because
sweet.
she ran away and got captured.
Aw.
Obi-Wan comforts her, saying it's not her fault, but the bad people are the ones to blame. This is when their new ally welcomes them into a droid maintenance building that is all automated.
Ned B, the Iron Giant, or the Baymax of this episode. Very sweet. Love that he went for that hammer. Pity we didn't get to see it being used finally. But maybe, who knows? He did save Obi-Wan at the end. We'll get to that. But yeah, I think one of the most interesting scenes was in that little hideout of theirs. That little- where they have all these carvings on the wall, where, you know, for 10 years while Obi-Wan has been out of the game, these people have, you know, we didn't need Obi-Wan or the best Jedi of them all to start the resistance or the rebellion from scratch. You know, people started doing it like on their own. It was, they didn't require a people's champion. That was nice.
So this was my favorite part of the episode. Just that one line that the Jedis have been changing their identity and have
Yeah.
been going off in other parts of the galaxy.
Yeah. She's
It
making them
was-
fake passports. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But just that the hurt you felt that
Yeah.
these mighty Jedi who were like such celebrated individuals at some one point of time, and now because of this oppressive
Okay.
regime that they're going under, they have to literally change their name, their identity, everything, and
Absolutely.
hide the fact that they are Jedi and live like normal people. It just very it hit something very
Yeah, it's
deep
telling, man.
inside.
It's
I'm with you.
absolutely
I'm very intrigued about those people specifically, and people like them. Like people like. I don't think Chirrut Imwe was a Jedi per se, right? He wasn't
It
trained,
was
but like,
force sensitive.
yeah, exactly. I'm intrigued about force sensitive people who had to do whatever they needed to do. To,
Also, is it clear that
Yeah.
Tala? Is it
Yeah.
clear that Tala is force sensitive? By the way, that's
No,
what I
didn't get
got
that
from. So
impression.
that's how I got it from the. I watched it a second or third time, and there's a moment where she is in the tunnel, and both of them turn at the same time. This is the time that Obi-Wan is like being
senses
engulfed in
Vader?
flame. Yeah, they both kind of turn, and Leia looks at Tala and says, "Okay, you go get him," and she's like nods and she leaves. I don't know, just have a look at that. I feel like there was something there.
Perhaps.
But you know, the scene in the we get a
That'd be
name
great.
drop of
Quinlan.
Quinlan Vos, which is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't read Dark Disciple, but he is there in season 3 of the Clone Wars. He's like the Lobo of Jedi. He's
Jedi.
awesome. He's got the dreads. He's just like he's very different in terms of like how the Jedi are. Like he's always been a person who's always there, like no matter what the cost is. And so it seems clear that he would be somebody who would usher younglings out to safety, and that was awesome. If we get to see him in the show, I don't know who's playing him, but that would be fucking sick. Though I mean, I do know that O'Shea Jackson is in the show. I don't know who he is. He could be Quinlan Vos. He could be somebody
He's in
else.
this show?
Yeah, he's one of the cast
What?
members. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. In fact, that's what they. I mean, he recently tweeted also when all this racist stuff was happening towards Moses Ingram, and
Yeah.
he said, yeah, oh, you won't believe it, but I'm in the show, and he also says you won't believe who plays Darth Vader. It's like, yeah, it's a black guy, so fuck you guys. But yeah, so we might see some more interesting characters yet. I mean, there's still 3 episodes to go. But this idea that is being, I know that this is an Obi-Wan Vader show, but it's seeding this other side of which I love, and like Abbas is saying, there's some it's a real beautiful side to it, like that there's some hope being generated, even though the Obi-Wan is like completely without some. So yeah.
Vader and the Inquisitors arrive and begin to harm innocent bystanders to lure Kenobi.
Woo,
Kenobi sends Leia and Tala ahead while he provides a distraction.
man.
This whole Vader sequence
This
where he
is
turns up and
fucking
just starts
mad.
killing people.
You know what?
Love it.
They keep giving us
It's just
more and more reason for us to not believe that he is worthy of redemption.
Yeah, seriously. But I love it. Like it was about time we saw, apart from just Rogue One, where obviously we know how that entire sequence ends up when he enters the ship and takes over the ship. But yeah, I was really happy to just see him going full like full power Hitler. Like just
Fuck.
because I want to lure you out, I'm gonna strangle this.
Yeah.
kid.
That is what it was doing. He was trying to
Great.
get lure
Yeah,
him
I
out,
love
right?
that. I absolutely love that. And I'll tell you, like, so I'm jumping ahead just a few minutes in the thing, but so when we get to the sabers are out, and right before the fight actually happens, up until the minute that the blades made contact, I really wasn't sure if we were watching a hallucination or whatever.
A forced,
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I knew that was really Vader on the street choking people. Cool,
Yeah.
that's fine. But then like when it came to him when Obi was running around in the darkness on the sands, I was like, is he just in a fever dream
Yeah.
right now?
Like a
Yeah.
Dagobah type of like only what you taken with you
Kind
of.
of. And
I had that thought
Can I
too,
say?
yes.
Yes, we've seen more impressive lightsaber duels in other movies, but the lighting on this one, it like just
So good.
before they even made contact, when Obi's just walking around in the dark with the thing, like I was.
I think it's the new sabers that they've been using, right? That they're actual lightsabers, like they're actual props which emit light so
Right.
that they can shoot them properly. Oh yeah. Oh, next level, man. That was some of the nicest lighting in this episode. But yeah, man, Space Hitler, man, he snaps that kid's neck. Not because he's trying to defend his dad. He just exits his apartment saying like, "Oh, what's happening?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
fucking neck snap, neck
I-
snap. Not even forced
I mean-
choke, straight neck snap."
Yeah, the straight up villainy was like it's almost like cartoon evil. where
I know,
It's like,
it's like-
the kid runs out, he's like, "Excuse me, sir."
Man, that was fucking. Oh, dude, that Vader. Yeah, he's a fucker, dude. Like he's a mad man. He's just what a vindictive guy. Wow. I loved it though.
Were you scared by was it scary?
It was
or-
scary. The scariest part was when Obi-Wan is hiding behind those crates, and Darth Vader just turns and he looks like that. It's the fastest movement Darth Vader has ever made in his life.
Seriously. Well, no. That actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because I did think of that exact moment when it happened. Nobody exits frame like Darth Vader, because while you say that might be the fastest move he's done, every time, whenever it's been like an over the shoulder, which this one was, even though he wasn't talking to anybody, it was an over the shoulder shot. Whenever he leaves, he's like, even in his first scene in A New Hope, right? Like,
Struts
if
out.
part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor take her away, and he just he
Yeah.
always has to whip.
He's got the
out of frame.
cape whip. No, but he's
And I
like
think
Jason, man.
the fact that the actor can't see, he has no peripheral vision, right? So he's like, okay, now turn that way. Oh, that way?
He's like Michael Keaton in the original Batman. He has to go like full shoulder turn. Dude, he's like Jason. He can appear and reappear like at will, like wherever he wants to go. He disapparates because there's no fucking way. There's no way he can sneak up on Obi-Wan. I mean, I know Obi-Wan's out of the game, but how is he doing this? It's awesome. I love it. But
Obi-Wan is incredibly out of the game. Though,
Man.
He's
right?
rusty.
Like even when he uses his lightsaber,
Yeah.
it's basically as a lantern.
yeah, it's called back to that original line, which is one of my favorite lines. It's like, what does it feel like to turn the light when you turn on the light? You feel safe. I think that it's a wonderful description of the Force, and unfortunately, it only happens from these really, fucking old Jedi who have just seen the worst of life. All the best advice comes from those really jaded, cynical Jedi who have just been through the worst things ever. Whether it's Yoda or Luke Skywalker in Last Jedi or Obi-Wan later on, it's just like the worst. And I feel so bad for them, but it seems to be a trend. And but yeah, he turns it on. Just like almost. We gotta just call out, like, shout out Ewan McGregor. What a fucking performance! Like when he tells Tala, he's like, "Take her, promise me you'll take her." He's like, "I'm gonna die. I'm about to die. Just please do this." He's so frightened, and I loved that. It was so good, man. It's the worst we've ever seen him.
Vader,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, quick comment. Ramanathan says Obi-Wan being out of the game literally reminded me of 11 out of the game in Stranger Things season 4.
Oh, we'll get that.
Yeah, Obi-Wan's
There,
force
at
sense
least,
has
I
no
was
bars.
gonna
Seems
say
like Vader's
the
top notch.
difference is 11 has lost her powers, and no spoilers.
I
but
mean,
she's
it's
trying to
spoiled
figure out
already.
how to get them back. But she lost her powers in season 3. So
Still spoilers for me.
Yeah, totally spoiler. I totally forgot about everything.
she loses her powers at the end of season 3, and of course you see this arc like a lot of times.
1 second.
like,
Also, my other question: who's 11? No, I'm kidding. I do know who 11 is.
Toby
No,
Spider-Man lost his powers for example. At
We
one
don't
point.
need to
a
know.
lot of the
It's
time
all
when
good.
this happens,
Yeah.
the person in question really wants to get their powers back. That's not the case here. Obi has
Exactly,
always had his
yeah.
skills. He's just like.
No, I mean, let's not put it that way.
Block.
I mean,
He's got
like,
the
if he
gifts.
had the opportunity to do it, he would do it. Like, people have spoken of the contradiction between him wanting to still be able to teach Luke later on, to Owen's, like, much, to his contention to that. But he also, doesn't want to help that guy when he's, still a chef and cutting up that stuff. He doesn't want to defend Nari. He doesn't want to, do any of the real work. He even begrudgingly takes on Bail Organa's mission. I just think that's... I mean, like, I think he eventually still wants to be able to tell Luke... teach Luke this because that's his charge. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. That's the only thing that he's been tasked with. And he just wants to see that through. But everything else...
Man has gotten rusty, right? Like, with the innocent bystander who he didn't help, or with Nari, you could say there's a case to be made for he didn't want to be discovered, and
Correct.
that is more important than anything else. But that's not the case with, say, his screw up on the about the truck, or the fact that he is completely out of it in this battle with Vader.
I mean, let's
like
think
at
about
this point, you're realizing it's just
Yeah.
because it's not just that he doesn't want to be discovered, or he doesn't want to use the Force because he doesn't want to be found. He's been found at this point.
Yeah.
He's just become like he has a mental block that has kind of sapped.
I mean,
his,
like, it needs constant practice and exercise, right? Like, it's something that you can fall out of. It's not like riding a bike.
Dude, he's not switched on he's not started his lightsaber up since Revenge of the Sith. Think about the last thing that he did with his lightsaber was kill his bestie, you know?
Like, he doesn't even try. Like, it's not like he tries to do something and he's not good at it. It's not like he does a stab and he's like,
I also think there's something to be said for the fact that, like, besides wanting to protect Luke and Leia, him not hurting Vader, I think also stems from the fact that, like, the only person he's still trying to connect to is Qui-Gon, right? And Qui-Gon's whole thing was, this guy is the chosen
child,
one.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
the
Absolutely.
Anakin is the chosen one. Now, obviously, because Anakin's become what he's become, he's like, okay, maybe he's not the chosen one. Isn't exactly in the.
He's like, Qui-Gon, I need to talk to you about something.
Yeah, well, that could mean that the chosen one's offspring is the thing, or whatever the hell. Like, so I think that also has to play with the fact that's why he's not trying to fight
It's
back
brilliant.
as much. He's like,
It's brilliant,
Annie,
yeah.
can we please talk this out? Like that, I think that's still where he's at.
Lots of
And so
layers,
I'm
yeah.
really interested to see when we do get Qui-Gon, what Qui-Gon's, first lines when he's like,
He's like, my bad.
like, what do you have to say for yourself? Because you think, my bad, you done screwed the pooch on that one. But also, with the fact that Obi hasn't been practicing, that is also, I'm sure, has something to do with the fact that that's why Qui-Gon isn't replying. Because
He's cut himself off from the Force. Yes.
you're not worthy of my contact just yet. You
Man,
need to actually-
I would love
some-
if Qui-Gon speaks to Obi-Wan finally, and he's like, look at what happened to Anakin, and Qui-Gon's just like, he's the chosen one. That's it. Like, this is not up for debate still. I mean, it could throw Obi-Wan into such a fucking crazy loop. In fact, check this out. What if Obi-Wan knows how this is all gonna go? Like, his death, even in A New Hope, could be something that he is informed about. That he knows is going to happen inevitably. And so that's why he kind of gives up his... that's why, the line, I will become more powerful than you can ever imagine. There has to be something more to this. Like, I'm so curious about that. But yeah, absolutely. I mean,
there is, I mean, you're onto something. I really don't know if I would bet too much on him saying something just as blunt as that and just vanishing after saying that again. But in the vein again of episode 8, with like how you said, the grizzled older Jedi are the ones that have the most perspective and are willing to flip a little bit because life is not so
Black and
binary.
white.
And there are, you have to consider different perspectives a lot of time. I think there's a lot of hubris with this whole chosen one conversation.
Absolutely.
So I think if Qui-Gon comes in and Obi questions him, I would love to see a bit more of, what is my place if he is in fact the chosen one, but like, I also have to do something to allow him to do what the chosen one needs to do. You know what I mean? Like, if I go in to fight him right now and Qui-Gon tells him, yeah, I can train you and you can kill him because you're fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yep.
maybe Obi, yeah, like you're right, chooses. Maybe I do need to let him continue for 10 more years. And
Well, it's not
babies.
10 more years. It's only 5 years until the Return of the
Oh,
Jedi.
oh, yeah, whatever it is. Like I need to let him kill a few more babies before we choose our move.
It's true. It's true. Maybe he's like, this is still correct as things
Yeah,
stand.
this is as it should be. Like so
nice.
far.
I love that. Let's move on to this.
feel like that's not like that becomes more about Vader, and I think most of where the show is going is kind of having Obi go from being someone who is completely out of sorts, who has like basically broken down because he blames himself, to becoming the very like calm, collected presence he becomes.
He
in
seems
episode
pretty
4.
chill
Yeah.
in
Emotional
a
journey.
There's
New
got to
Hope.
be an inciting incident, something in the
Absolutely.
next 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like you said, that happens, and then we see a montage of Obi-Wan getting his mojo back.
Yeah.
And
Yes, because he
somehow-
seems very
yeah.
calm in as Alec Guinness, has portrayed him.
Exactly. And I think Deborah Chow gave an interview to Empire Magazine where she said that was her mindset. What happened last we saw
Ah,
Obi-Wan
love
was
that.
at the end of episode 3,
Yeah.
where he's this
True.
man who's going into hiding, and then in episode 4, so we see him as this calm old man who's got things relatively under control.
Yeah, he's decked out his
So,
home.
yeah.
He's got little knacks here and there. It's
Yeah.
good. I like it. The lightsabers are no longer buried in the sands of Tatooine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
in
yeah.
its
So
place.
what happened in those in between years to make him this wise old man?
Interesting,
So, yeah,
interesting.
We got to see that.
Tala turns around to rescue Obi-Wan. Leia has been told to meet the pilot at the end of the path, but there she runs into Reva.
Okay. Now, there's been a lot of discourse online about this little tunnel. I have two things to say about it. Okay. Now, most people say, how did First question, how did Reva get
Get
to the
there.
end of the tunnel before getting? Oh, it's obvious.
We
She
saw
didn't
that
go
already.
through.
She parkoured.
She what?
She parkoured it like she did in episode
Oh, she
2.
parkoured it. No,
Yeah.
one is she obviously didn't go through the tunnel. That's my
Yeah,
first thing.
she
Because otherwise she
parkoured
would have
around.
gone. She would have gone. She would have met Tala. All right, and Tala leaves also to find Obi-Wan. So and also have people considered that there are other ways to exit this tunnel. It's not a one way, guys. It's a delta of tunnels. Okay, it's the railroad. This is how they're smuggling out the
Jedi.
The Jedi, yeah. So you gotta account for that. So Reva was smart. She got to the end of it. She got to the other side, and this is how she finds little Leia, who's once
Guys,
again
have you read the theory that the pilot who was found on the ground
is
looks like Ryan Johnson? Yes, there's a physical similarity.
Oh my
He looks like Ryan
A
Johnson.
short, middle-aged man with a beard. Wow.
Yeah.
I know. Come on.
I was expecting something though, because with all the talk of like meet the pilot there, the pilot is going to meet you at the end of the thing. You're like, what is
He's
going
just a
on?
But this is
pilot.
also classic Ryan Johnson, huh? Like you'll find the guy on Canto Bite, the dude with the fucking plum bloom. Who's he? Fucking Justin Thoreau, just throwing dice, and that's all.
He's a pilot, yes, but the way he's kind of telegraphed, you expect it to be.
But I think maybe
something
that's the
of
shock
importance.
value that Reva has like axed him, and now Leia's in her possession.
Yeah.
Hey, can we talk about how Vader barbecues?
We got to talk about this. Okay, listen, that is single-handedly one of the fucking coolest things I've seen, because in my mind going into the show, at no point, I don't know why I didn't consider the fact that Darth Vader, who's so full of spite and vengeance, is gonna fucking put Obi-Wan through that exact same thing. I love that so much. The moment he
I-
set it
I
on
just-
fire, I knew. I was
yeah.
like, oh, this is a fucking guy. Oh my
I
god.
was just
Say,
like,
your
can
pain
we
has just begun. He had a plan.
Yo, he's been
Like,
thinking
he's
about
been
this for 10
imagining.
years.
He's going classic Bond.
who has the higher ground now, bitch?
Yeah.
I was just expecting him to say
No, and he lifts him off the ground, so he still does. But wow, that was fantastic.
I was
man.
thrown though for a second because he was on that fire for a fucking long time.
Yeah.
Had, like nothing to show for it. I
So
was
we
like,
don't know
how
the
is this
damage
going?
yet. We don't know the state
Well,
of the damage.
it's fire. The damage should be you're on fire. The minute
He
he
was
came out
on
of the fire,
fire.
he was not on fire anymore.
No, but
I was like, how does that work?
here's two things that happened.
It
Right?
was just a little odd, but I'll give it a
Let's
complete
just
pass.
discuss this scene because it is intriguing from a storytelling point of view, and people have many thoughts in it. Some people it's bad storytelling. Vader puts him through the fire for a good, 30, 40 seconds. He makes him
I'm gonna have to
suffer.
kill you.
And then but he then uses the force to put out the flames. Obi-Wan kind of crawls out of it, and while he goes for it, Tala sets the whole thing back on fire. And this time Darth Vader refuses to put out the flames and go
Yeah.
go to Obi-Wan.
Chased Obi-Wan, yeah.
Why did he do this? Is he toying with his food? Is he allowing the chase to go on because he wants it is the pain has just begun. He wants to keep this going.
Yeah.
What is
Think-
that?
That's it.
Why wouldn't Darth Vader just immediately put out the flames and just take him
No.
back to Mustafar and make him suffer or maim him? If the first step is putting him on fire, the second step is clearly to cut off his limbs. So why won't he do that?
I
think
had a
Darth-
different take to that actually.
Let's go to that.
I think watching Obi-Wan writhing in pain on the fire it did something to Anakin. The Anakin inside him was still like, it's a very
Interesting.
when we were kids, right? When we had a fight with our friend and we left it at that moment where we were both angry. The next time we meet, I want to punch him. But after punching him, I have that little
Guilt?
Guilt there. Now, I agree that the guy Vader on his way to that place was killing random children on the way, but they were strangers, right?
Yeah,
I
that's true.
still
Until you
think-
see your brother on fire.
Yeah, I still think especially the way they filmed him behind the fire, not chasing
Beautiful.
Obi-Wan.
Beautiful.
He's behind a mask, but I think they were trying to imply where there was something like, I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, the flames in
know?
his eyes
Yeah,
though, man.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, the
I-
photography.
I think all of these are perfectly sound theories, and I would like to believe your theory, Abbas. But I can't unsee the fact that pretty much any time people have slipped through Vader's fingers in every movie we've seen him, he's done the exact same thing. He's like just standing there while the guy just like runs away.
He's like, my
Like,
battery is
bro.
low.
Yeah, he's just not.
You think
he's-
chasing
guy
is
hasn't run.
beneath his
Gunman is not his strong suit. Like he just like if you manage to run away from
Very
Vader,
true.
you've already won because the guy doesn't. That's what it's part
I
of his
love
DNA.
it. I love it so much.
He's never chased a person. He's always like found a way, slow game, and like get them to come to me, and then I'll kill them.
Okay, Ramnathan says the same Reva who took 5 minutes to park over 5 buildings. Shake my head. She's there in a blink of an eye. Probably use the force finally. Sham says he's subscribed to you, Abbas, and hi
thank
Geek.
you.
Ramnathan continues to say he wants Leia, doesn't he? Probably keeping and letting Obi-Wan go is easier, or what Abbas has said. I actually do subscribe to Abbas and Jishnu's theory. These both make sense. Both of these things make sense.
I don't think so. Like Jishnu's theory makes sense in that like we can justify it based on how we've seen Vader be before. So
Or after.
we're done in that case, or after.
Yeah.
But I think Abbas's theory makes sense, as does wait, whose theory was it that he's playing with his food?
I mean, that's what I got
Yeah,
from it.
I think we're all in agreement on
Vader's
that.
It could be
Jishnu,
either
yeah.
of those, but I feel like it has to be explained like ASAP. Like we see Vader talking to Reva or something, and he says like, "This is why I did it," because otherwise,
Because,
it just
yeah,
seems like
if you
it's
fail
not
me,
a
you
bad
die,
Story move,
But if I fail, I don't die. I'm fine.
it's because story-wise, it's not a bad move to say like he's like Obi gets away. It's
Yeah.
just weirdly staged then,
Mm.
because like there's just something about the way
Do
it's
we-
been shot that makes
Okay.
it seem like he could have stopped him and then he chose not to. So it
Right.
seems like a very deliberate choice that they'll have to explain.
Also,
Tell
let's
me- yeah.
look at the fact that again, I can't believe I'm not that I'm complaining, but I can't believe I'm bringing up episode 8 as much as I am. But seeing as in episode 8 we were introduced to the notion of like force conversations, right,
Force
between
timing,
Kylo
as they call it.
and and for Kylo and Rey. Now that Vader literally sniffed out Obi, right, by just like sensing his presence, by baiting him by like, I'm gonna make you feel empathy, and by that I will know that it's you. And so much so that he can like GPS locate him in the middle of a desert and be like, that's where you are, and I'll be right there before you get there. That also, I think, to your point, Abbas, I think could be what we're going to get more of now. Like, if you want that to be addressed right now, the fact that he knows Obi's out, Obi knows he's out, they are both fully aware of each other, they've met, they've physically fought. Now, you can do more, which they've already done a fuck ton in the first 3
Right.
episodes already, of this,
Right.
like, just sitting there and sensing with force premonition, can I set, like what the Inquisitor did in the very first scene of the first episode, trying to snuff out the Jedi. In that fashion, now that he knows where Obi is and Obi knows where he is, I think we're going to get to the conversation a lot quicker because of just that.
You know what-
Regardless of whether or not they meet physically, they could do shit like this.
I do like the idea of what Abbas is talking about some amount of empathy that maybe Vader is showing, because I feel like if we have to bridge the gap, and everybody wants to bridge the gaps between Vader in Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi, is he the chosen one? Does he have a redemption arc that is worthy of him, of his character, we should get a few more moments. At least we should punctuate whatever moments we can with some amount of, not remorse, but like maybe a hint of the fact that there is good in him. That Luke finally, tries to seek out. Man, if Luke saw this show, he'd be like, nah, I'm good.
I'll
He'd
put
be
money
like,
on.
nah, I'm good.
I'll put money on that plot line getting really expanded upon in the follow-up series,
Which we hopefully
in the Vader series or whatever.
Because
it is.
if Anakin shows up in Ahsoka's series as a Force Ghost, Ahsoka's gonna be like, "Yo, you're cancelled. You gotta explain yourself now."
Yeah, like we're gonna get a lot more backstory with Vader inevitably, and this being Obi-Wan's show, and like how quickly we've got to this point, I feel like there's more with learning that Obi needs to do than Vader needs to do.
Right.
As much as we want to see him redeemed, I don't think they would do that in this show.
I think there's only one more pressing question that I have from this episode. So now we get some great lines in this episode. I am what you made me. Your suffering has just begun. You should have killed me when you had the chance. That's all brilliant shit. I love that. But I think the interesting question going forward, once again, which is got to do with retconning and how much you want to stick to the canon, is Leia's abduction. And what we feel about that, and do you think that Reva is abducting Leia as Reva, the solo kind of bounty hunter type person, or is she gonna show that Vader that, look, I found Leia? I don't think that she would, because then that kind of screws up Leia and Vader's relationship. I mean, that's a tough one to kind of mangle with if how do we feel about that?
I think they'd meet. I'm just shooting in the dark here, but I think just for the wow factor of seeing a baby Leia meeting Vader when they don't know who the other one is.
Yo, come on.
Like,
how would Vader not know?
I mean,
I for that exact reason, I just to make people go, what the fuck? I think they'd do it. But it won't last long. You're right. I think something will come in the way, and then they'll be separated very quickly.
But why wouldn't Vader make it his
very
life's
thin wall of
mission?
fire, which we know is going to look at and go like,
Why would if Vader knew that Leia is his daughter, why would he not make it his every single day's mission to go and retrieve her and make her his heir? Like, because he meets Luke. Okay, he meets Luke in A New Hope. He sees, oh, is this person strong with the Force? He deduces between episode 4 and 5 that he is his son, and then he tells him that he's his son. And in 6, he says that his only mission is to bring him before the Emperor to make him the next, person in the dark side, because that he's just such a flunky of the Emperor. That's the only thing he knows how to do. If he knows that Leia's his daughter, or at least if they have an interaction long enough where he has to be able to sense that she is his daughter. I mean, that's why I feel that Reva's story is the most important here, because I feel like she's going to abduct her and not reveal that to the Inquisitors or Vader. Yeah, I think that's interesting. What do you guys feel about
so
that?
can I give you my Reva take?
Let's go.
Sorry, Dinka, you were saying something.
No, I was going to ask for, I was going to ask what her game plan might be if she's not going to reveal that she's kidnapped Leia to Vader. But yes, tell us your theory.
So I think there's a reason why we started the show with the Order 66 scene. I think that little child who the scene starts with, I think it is Reva. I think we will go back to that scene, continuing from where we cut it off in the beginning. I think she will see Anakin come in and take out the younglings, and for some reason, when Anakin comes to this young kid, who is child Reva. Something will happen where instead of killing her, he will not exactly take her under his wing, but I don't know, be aware of her or something like that, which is why Reva knows that Vader is Anakin.
First of all, yeah.
And I think it'll tie somewhere Anakin being sad about letting go of Ahsoka, so now he needs this other apprentice or Padawan, if you will.
Love that.
So I don't know how much they will make it a master-student relationship, but
So
Reva and Vader
wants to be Vader's apprentice, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
But the rule
or
of two.
rather Anakin takes her under his wing and grooms her as a super weapon to one day get back to Obi-Wan. And this is his plan being carried out.
Because the interaction, the brief interaction they have at the top of this episode, he says that, I know what you actually want. And it's supposed to imply that, she wants to be the Grand Inquisitor, but
maybe it's not. Maybe it's something else.
It has to be
can't
something.
that.
It has to be
be
more.
something.
It is
And-
interesting. That's definitely a good take. I definitely think we will see the other end of that scene in Order 66. That's a good shout.
Yeah.
So I think there is. I don't know why it's a gut feeling that there is some equation between Reva and Ahsoka.
Do you think? Yeah, I was just gonna say. Do you think
Yeah.
there's a mega drop of like fucking something huge, like a big reveal?
I feel like that, but I'm not sure.
I don't want
But
to
yeah.
hope. I don't want to hope. But yeah,
I buy it.
the more we go into these episodes, the less I feel that we might get a Clone Wars flashback or an Ahsoka thing, unless she's absolutely integral to the plot, or unless
Also,
that Hayden is going to show up in Ahsoka.
Exactly.
Then we would have to do that.
If they have cast Hayden Christensen, there has to be a extensive flashback sequence where he is playing Anakin.
Yeah.
I don't think they just hired him to put him in a suit and
Completely.
have him wave a lightsaber.
I mean,
100.
maybe they're also just throwing their boy a bone. I mean, like. It's like, oh, let's get. I mean, that would be great for PR. That could be great for just the vibes of everybody loves Hayden, man. So
I mean, he has been the next most important person other
After
than Ewan
Ewan
McGregor
McGregor,
for
yeah,
all the
absolutely.
promotions. And I mean,
True.
if they just do that, sure. If they just put him in a suit and make him play Vader, and maybe in the last episode, half of Vader's mask comes off, and
Yeah.
you see how. Even if they do that, it'll be great.
yeah.
But I think there's got to be something more to it.
Yeah, they've
There's gotta
shown
be-
him as a Jedi in that
Main-
little vision
main
that
cast,
he has.
yeah.
So I mean, dude, I would love nothing more than to see Ahsoka, Anakin, and Obi-Wan at some fucking flashback. Oh, yo, that would be sick as fuck. I would love that so much, but.
So I
traditionally,
think
flashbacks have
one
not
of
been
these
part the
one of
drama.
these episodes, either episode 4 or episode 5, is going to be a completely flashback episode.
Oh yeah, bottle episode. I mean, kind of, not like a flashback episode. You're right. Maybe Vader and Leia see each other through a ship's window, and then Obi-Wan saves her and gets away. That's Ramnathan's take. Maybe we get a fleeting glance, and
Leia flies away.
yeah.
Also, I'm still holding out that Jar Jar shows up.
Me too.
In some
One-
way. When they said that
I want
there's
that more than
there's
Qui-Gon.
my contact, my pilot, I was like, oh, this is Jar Jar. It's Jar
There's a
Jar.
bongo waiting for you on the other side of this fucking
Oh,
thing.
dude, I would love that. I mean, I really wanted Dexter to be in this show. That would be really lovely. But I think Coruscant is just
Dexter is
too.
cute, but I just
too
want to.
difficult.
I like Jar Jar, and I just want to see
Ahmed
all
Best get
the all the
his-
haters like at full capacity. I just wanna,
At,
like, how
at
much
full
hate you got.
strength, yeah.
Show me your hate. Let's see. You kill yourself with your hate.
Love this, love this. All right, so we have this episode in the bag. Any final thoughts, you guys?
I really have to pee.
Just sure you can go. We can continue.
No, I will wait.
All right, Abbas.
I also have this other thing where I think Obi-Wan is burnt. I think his back is in a pretty bad shape. But Qui-Gon's Force Ghost will force heal him.
Wow, I
with
think
guidance.
I think his back is still burnt, and we never see that in A New Hope, so it's fine.
That's true, yeah.
He's always wearing long, very loose clothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we never see that, but maybe that also kind of
Hey,
explains
when he
why the
sees
fight is.
when he sees the charred body of Owen and Beru, he like, I know what that feels like.
Oh, been there.
Exactly. Man, they all go through some shit. I mean, does this explain why he's got white hair and he's so like ravished looking?
Perhaps.
Yeah. Because I mean, it could be a good explanation for why the fight also in A New Hope. I mean, it's a convenient explanation for why it's
Sure,
so
yeah.
chill. It's just like they're just playing.
They're spent fighting each other for so many years.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's a good theory. I am excited for the back half of this show. We could see some flashbacks. We could still see Qui-Gon. Obviously, we want to see a Rocky montage, and we want to see Obi-Wan still be the master, and Darth Vader still, have much to learn in the time period that happens post this show and A New Hope. Dinkar, any final thoughts?
Since it's come up, I'd be really kicked for an entirely flashback episode.
I want it. Actually, now that you say it, I fucking want it. I want it now. I want Kinlan Voss. I want O'Shea Jackson Jr. in something. I mean, he's obviously in the show, but I'm so curious to see who he might be playing. Will we see Haja Estri or Tala or any of these people again? I think Tala will see.
Tala maybe, yes.
Yo, is there some vibes between Tala and are we shipping this?
Obi-Wan?
Are we shipping this? The man needs care. He's seen what happens when you don't have attachments. Okay, you lose Satine, you lose everybody.
I mean, she's got the transport system to visit Tatooine once in a while, so why not?
Got this. Yo, I want it. I want Obi-Wan. What I would love is that Obi-Wan had a life in the middle between, like, he had a partner, and maybe Tala bites it before A New Hope, and they had a beautiful relationship That's why he's so happy in A New Hope. He's like, he gets laid, he's chill,
Got
he's good.
laid.
He's good. Oh man, I didn't think about that, but this is great. This is amazing. I would love this so much.
So
All right.
wholesome.
It's a banger of a theory. Jishnu, final thoughts before you go pee and before we conclude this episode.
I want Jar Jar. I want Force projection Qui-Gon, not just a bluey Qui-Gon. I want a Qui-Gon that does more than just show up and has a conversation.
Why? What is he gonna do though?
The impact that Luke had with doing a Force projection thingy. I since there's precedent for it now.
But it's tough. Luke is like the pinnacle of all Jedi. Like he's got the
I
most
kinda get-
midichlorians.
I agree with Jishnu because we've already done the Jedi Force Ghost coming back and
Yeah.
giving a speech, which was
And-
Yoda in Episode 8.
True.
And they've been teasing it from the minute before the show began, right? They talked about Force Ghost Qui-Gon. Wink, wink.
They gotta deliver on that.
If you show me Force Ghost Qui-Gon, cool. I mean, obviously very cool, but still, like, I knew that was coming. So what? He just shows up and says some stuff. Like, I want to see a little bit more than that.
It's
if,
like
if
the-
and when it happens, it better be like, yo, it's Force Ghost Qui-Gon, and I got my boy Mace with me. What?
The
Oh my
wizard,
God!
the wizard, like he's like, I brought along a friend. Is that fine?
Yeah.
But you know what? I would love to see Qui-Gon do more. I don't think he will personally. But I would love. I mean, I don't think there's enough time for it. But I would love for them to lean into the fantasy element of Star Wars, which is that the holocrons.
I want to see holocrons.
Yeah, you know we
Okay.
love holocrons, bro.
But I'm staying away from getting too deep into just like more
But
lore, which they
I'll
just
tell
have
you
to
why-
explain that much more.
I'll
So
tell
I'm
you
just
why
like,
we
there's
might-
nothing you can do
we
of
might
impact to
because
the main trilogy.
There was that
Main-
little line in that, only when you close your eyes do you truly see the way. I think that's that's pure Jedi fantasy. We might
Yeah.
lean into that. I would love if we leaned into that. But every episode, Obi-Wan seems to be getting more and more reason to become Obi-Wan again and not Ben. Like he's
Yes.
like, why are you doing this? He's like, because I have to. Or, Nari saying that, oh, we got to help people. Or, somebody standing up for somebody else and that's not Obi-Wan, and that's cool. So we are
I think
moving
Ewan
along.
McGregor plays that moment so beautifully when he
Yeah.
says Quinlan was here.
Yeah,
And in
he's
that 1
actually
second you
genuinely
see-
surprised and
Yeah,
happy.
his eyes lighting up.
And when he actually says, "Oh, it's just Ben these days," love it. Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor is absolutely slaying this, man. There's not
Yeah.
an off moment whatsoever. Like he's become an even better actor since Revenge.
Yeah,
he's
totally.
just killing it. Hayden is fine as well. Guys, I want to talk about something just as we conclude. Thank you so much for being on this episode. But I would suggest tonight, most probably, I'm gonna watch Little Italy, a movie that Hayden Christensen did with Emma Roberts in 2018. That's his last appearance. He's in a rom-com, you guys, with Emma Roberts, and he's looking fine as fuck. I've gone on record to say Hayden Christensen looking super fly right now. Everybody's looking great. If you want to feel that Hayden Christensen love, do check out Little Italy. And also, if you want Outcast with Nicolas Cage, a terrible fantasy epic, which he did in 2013. All right, that's our episode. Thank you so much, everybody. Abbas, thank you so much for being on the episode, man.
Pleasure.
And if you want to hear more from Abbas, he's on Twitter at Abbas Momin. Abbas, do you have anything coming up? Apart from the table read, which we'll talk about, but do you have anything else that you want to share?
Not really. Follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. On Instagram, my ID is AbbasMomin88. And yeah, since you're watching this on YouTube, go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, there will be things appearing there sporadically
Nice.
in the next few months. Yeah.
Love that. All right, we got our Star Wars table read dropping tomorrow. So do check it out. It's the entire cast: Rohan Joshi, Naveen Narona, May Thomas, Varun Dugirala, Sahil Shah. Am I missing Abhish Matthew,
Yeah.
Jishnu Guha, Abbas Momin? Everybody's in that, man. It's great. It's so much fun to watch. And Dinka and I haven't completely fucked up John Williams' score. So do check it out. It was live. It happened earlier this month. You can check it out there tomorrow and tide you over till the next episode. Thank you so much, you guys. And we shall see you guys next week with another episode.
Bye bye.
See you later, you nerds.
Ciao. Ciao.